Hello, everybody. My name is Rachel, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about common CV mistakes. We have all recorded some other videos on CVs, looking at a little bit more detail around what to include. So if you are looking for a more in-depth overview of CVs and what you should include within them, definitely go and check that out on our YouTube channel. But today we are going to be talking about common CV mistakes. So one of the things that we often find students overlook or neglect is the formatting of their CV. So they might use fonts that are quite difficult to read. There might be some inconsistent spacing, so some big gaps and some small gaps, or there might be too much text, too much blocks of text. And these things always come across as poor formatting. So when you're thinking about the layout of your CV, you want it to be really clear, really professional, really easy to read. Employers don't often have a lot of time, so you want to make sure that they can retrieve the information as quickly as possible. Good formatting really helps this. So it might sound really simple and really obvious, but these are some of the things that we would definitely say to avoid. Secondly, spelling and grammar errors are a thing that we often come across when checking students' CVs. Often things that are really easy to miss, maybe bullet points not in the right place, lack of use of commas, or using the wrong grammar. It can seem like a really small thing and it might not feel like it should make a big difference, but it can have a really big impact on the success of your CV. If a professional employer or a recruiter is looking at a CV and they can see these mistakes, it doesn't give that great first impression that you want to give. They might think that if you're not accurate and your attention to detail isn't strong in your CV, then that might also be the case if you were working for them, which they obviously don't want. So definitely keep an eye on that as well. Thirdly, a CV that is too long or too short. So we would always say either 1 or 2 pages. And it's worth doing a little bit of research around the industry that you're looking for job roles within, because sometimes that can differ depending on what industry you're focusing on. So definitely make sure that you've done a little bit of a deep dive into that to figure out exactly what to do in that respect. Try not to do 1.5 pages or 2.5. You really want to keep it as 1 or 2. The fourth thing is using a generic CV, so not tailoring it to the role or the employer. So it's really easy to see when a CV hasn't looked at when someone hasn't looked at the job advert and the description included within that and tailored their CV to that particular job role. Look at the skills that they're looking for, look at the responsibilities and try and match as much as possible the bits in your experience section, the bits in your profile, and whatever that might look like. Can be a little bit confusing how to do that. So if you want to book an appointment, definitely do. We can have a look at a job advert and how to tailor your CV to that specifically. A few more common CV mistakes to think about. So overusing buzzwords, sorry. So using words like hardworking, motivational, motivated, teamwork. There's lots of really important buzzwords that you want to include, but it's important not to overuse them. And if you are using them, make sure that you are including evidence, examples, trying to explain why you've got that skill. An employer might have read 30, 40 CVs over the course of the recruitment process, and you want to make your CV stand out, but for the right reasons, so that you're talking about what skills you have, but also the evidence behind them as well. The next one is forgetting to include key sections. So make sure that you've had a look, that all the details are in there that you want to include. Have a look at the job advert as well. If they've asked you to include anything specific, make sure that's in there. Whether that's your contact details, your education section, make sure you've got your degree in there and it's all up to date. You want to give yourself the best possible opportunity with your CV to get to the next stage of the recruitment process. So don't leave out those tiny details that might impact whether you get to the next stage. And finally, unprofessional email addresses. Make sure that you don't use an unprofessional email address that you might have created when you were in secondary school. Try and use a professional personal one. You can always create a new one that's just for jobs. You can use your uni email address, but one thing I would make you aware of is that your university email address does deactivate after graduation. So if you are in your final year or you're soon to graduate, when you're watching this video, it might be worth using your professional personal one because you don't want to lose track of any correspondence with employers. So those are the sort of common CV mistakes that we often see. I just wanted to finish with a few final points. And what I would really say with anything CV related is to put yourself in the shoes of the employer and the recruiter. So think about who is reading your CV. It's probably a really busy recruiter. They might not have more than 30 seconds to have a quick look through it. You want to make sure that they can find the information they need as quickly as possible. Think about what they are looking for. So they want relevant skills and experience, and they want evidence of achievements, not just the tasks that you had to complete. And finally, that clear and professional presentation is something that we mentioned earlier. And then finally, how can you help them? So how can you make them reading your CV as easy as possible? So you want to make everything stand out. You want to use clear headings and bullet points, tailor your job and keep it concise and error-free. So by doing these things, you hopefully just make that CV a seamless read for the employer or the recruiter. So that's it from me in terms of common CV mistakes. If you want to get your CV checked, if you want to talk about anything that we've discussed in this video in more detail, contact the careers and grow your future teams. You can do so through the following methods on the slide. And I hope you found that helpful. Thank you. Goodbye.